The controversy over textbooks in Karnataka continues and it's only intensifying. A Congress MLC has now come out and made a scathing attack. He says we cannot allow lessons on cowards. This comment was made as far as the inclusion of Hedgewar and his teachings was concerned as far as school syllabus goes. He says that such people were cowards and that is not something that children in the state should learn about. The Congress government, remember, is preparing to drop certain contentious chapters, what they call as contentious, including Hedgewar's speech from the syllabus, all of which were additions that were made during the previous government, that of the BJP. Ever since the Congress has come to power in the state of Karnataka, they have been speaking about revising and revoking the changes that the previous BJP government made as far as school syllabus goes. Several educationists have met with Chief Minister Siddaramaiah as well in the course of the last 2 weeks. Several assurances coming to the fore from the state government, from the Chief Minister himself, that these changes will be made. Of course, this is not going to be done in this particular academic year, but it is a process, and the Chief Minister has assured these educationists and academicians that these changes will be made. Some of these portions will be removed. This particular controversy, as far as the Congress MLC BK Hariprasad is concerned, this revolves specifically around one particular chapter, and that is on Hedgewar's speech. Akshara, my colleague, joining us, getting us more details. Akshara, this controversy over textbooks in Karnataka continues to simmer. Every single day, perhaps, we are seeing somebody or the other, either from the Congress or the BJP, rake up the issue.
Yes, absolutely. Even to the run-up to the elections as well, Congress made it very much clear that they will be taking a firm stance on this particular whole issue of revision of textbooks. They also said that they'll be scrapping NAP and bringing in a new state education policy. And various ministers, as you pointed out, MLAs, MPs, have been now and then making statements regarding this. You have BK Hariprasad also making a strong statement stating that Hedgewar was an apologist and he wrote many apology letters to the British, and we don't want such leaders' speeches or lessons to be included in this. This will be an insult to the other freedom fighters. So that's the statement, the fresh statement coming in from the Congress leaders right now. But once again, an interim committee has also been formed by Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, where discussions are still going on regarding all the contentious chapters, whether they have to be dropped. But one thing is very sure that NAP, which is said to be, the Congress which said that they completely scrapped the NAP. We are not, it is very unlikely that this might take place in this academic year, but still the discussions are going on. Interim committee is set up. So it's very likely that all these contentious chapters, be it by right-wing ideologues such as Chakravarti Sulibelim on the Pai, Govinda's Pai, and also Hedgewar's speech as well, are likely to be dropped, which is not going down well with the BJP as well. So we will get to see within a week. We will get to see whether these chapters will be dropped. Any new revision will be made to the textbook as well.
Akshara, do stay on with me. Rajya Sabha MP Rakesh Sinha joining us on this broadcast. So thank you so much for speaking with us here. The Congress has been talking of revoking some chapters, of making some changes as far as textbooks in Karnataka goes. But now an MLC of the Congress party in Karnataka says that there is no reason why children should learn about Hedgewar because he was a coward.
This is the most foolish statement made by the Congress leader, Mr. Hariprasad. Dr. Hedgewar played a very vital role in the freedom movement. His knowledge of history is very poor, or his understanding of history is akin to Rahul Gandhi's understanding of history. In fact, they are treating history as a tool of the Congress propaganda. Dr. Hedgewar was one of the persons who led the revolutionary movement in Bengal and Vidarbha. He was the part of the Gandhian movement in 1930, non-cooperation movement in 1920s and 30s, and he was the region that with the movement got the life in Vidarbha. That is the archival record. I don't know which record he consulted. There is another archive, parallel archive in this country, that is the 10 Janpads archive. That archive belongs to the Nehru-Gandhi family. Anything which goes against the Nehru-Gandhi family, anything which is not the liking of the Nehru-Gandhi family, they degrade it, devalue it, and condemn it. I think that such statements are damaging to all the freedom fighters by calling Dr. Hedgewar coward. He is insulting the freedom fighters of the country, and I think that Hariprasad should apologize, or RSS or any supporter of RSS can approach to the court against Hariprasad's statement. He has also made the statement that he had written a letter to British government and the British authorities. Dr. Hedgewar in his life, as far I know, as a biographer of Dr. KB Hedgewar, I wrote a biography which has been published in various languages. And that biography has been reprinted even during the UPA regime, because they could not reject that biography, because that biography is based on the authentic sources. And that there is no evidence that Hedgewar has written any letter or he had met any British authorities in his life. He was the pure patriot, and his patriotism is just shining like the star, and his shadow is every day increasing. Others' shadow is decreasing after their life, and Dr. Hedgewar's shadow and impact in this country and outside the country is day by day increasing.
Mr. Sinha, why do you think we hear such comments coming to the fore from the Congress party? This is not the first time around that they've made such a comment. Very often they come out and say that the inclusions that the BJP has made as far as school curriculum goes, most of which is unwarranted.
You know, they are making a mockery of the history textbook, and children are confused and amused. If every successive government will change the history curriculum, then I think it would be an injustice to the students of the country and posterity. The curriculum must represent the grassroots realities of the history. At that grassroots reality, I am giving one example. The Arvind Malpe in Wardha and Shahid Kumar in Meghol, Begusai, both were born after their fathers got martyred. There is not a trace of in the history books of such sacrifices. The textbook has been written during the Congress regime, keeping in the mind the glorification of a particular family and some individuals. Indian freedom movement is not the product of the miracle of some individuals or any political party or agenda, but it is the sacrifice of the common people. Such common people, which include Dr. Hedgewar, which includes Subhash Chandra Bose, which includes so many freedom fighters like Trilok Nath Chakrabarti, they all have been ignored with a deliberate and with a conscious motive. Therefore, during the BJP regime that have been revived, they worship Tipu Sultan Aurangzeb. The people who worship Tipu Sultan Aurangzeb cannot do justice with the Indian history.
Sure, so the back and forth and the allegations and counter-allegations between the BJP and the Congress continues. Mr. Sinha, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Before I bring in Akshara once again over this controversy that has been simmering for a few weeks now, let's listen into the comment that came to the fore from the Congress MLC, B.K. Hariprasad.
ಹೆಡ್ಗೇವಾರು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಹೋರಾಟಗಾರರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾದರೂ ಸಾಬೀತು ಮಾಡಲಿ. ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರ ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಕೋರಿದಂಥ ಈ ನಕಲಿ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಹೋರಾಟಗಾರರಿಗೆ ಅವರು ಮಾನ್ಯತೆ ನೀಡಂಗಿದ್ರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಯಾರೋ ಹೇಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಗೋಡ್ಸೆಯೂ ಕೂಡ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಭಕ್ತ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಇವರ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಭಕ್ತಿಗೂ ಜನಸಾಮಾನ್ಯರ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಭಕ್ತಿಗೂ ಭಾಳ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಇದೆ. ಲಕ್ಷಾಂತರ ಜನ, ಸಾವಿರಾರು ಜನ ಪ್ರಾಣತ್ಯಾಗ ಮಾಡಿ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಕೊಟ್ಟವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಪಮಾನ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದಲ್ಲದೆ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಜನತಾ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಯವರಾಗಲಿ, ಸಂಘ ಪರಿವಾರದವರಾಗಲಿ, ಹೆಡ್ಗೇವಾರ್ ಅವರು ಸ್ವತಂತ್ರ ಹೋರಾಟಗಾರರು ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರು ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರಿಗೆ ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಪತ್ರ 6 ಬಾರಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಭಾಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಅವ್ರದ್ದೇ ಆದ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಚಿತ್ರಗುಪ್ತ ಅಂತ ಅವರೇ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷರಿಗೆ ಕ್ಷಮಾಪಣೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಬರ್ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇಂಥ ರಣಹಿಡಿಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಪಠ್ಯಪುಸ್ತಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ.
Author Ratan Sharda joins us on this broadcast. So thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Your first response to the Congress calling Dr. Hedgewar a coward?
Well, these Congress people, the new age Congress people have no knowledge of history. They are full of hate and intolerance. Dr. Hedgewar was a member of Congress. He went to jail twice, not once, twice. Once in 1920 under the guidance of Gandhiji's call. Again in 1930 on base of Gandhiji's call. He also worked with the revolutionaries. He was joint secretary for the Congress with national session in Nagpur in 1920. Do they know the history? As a freedom fighter all through, he gave birth to an organization which has changed the entire face of politics of society, and now we have Hindutva as the center pole of national polity. By trying to swipe away the memory of such a noble man who had nothing for himself and dedicate his entire life, everything to the society, to speak like this, they need to go and wash their face and, wash their face with soap water. They have no knowledge at all about history.
Mr. Ratan Sharda, the Congress also says that, making a similar comparison to what they've done with Savarkar in the past as well, that the reason why they are tagging Dr. Hedgewar a coward is because he apologized to the British.
When did he apologize to the British? Show me one page of history where he apologized to British. He went to jail. He stayed in jail. He spoke in the court so strongly that the judge said, your lecture, your speech here is even more defamatory and more seditious than the speech you gave in the public. He was the most courageous man, and he fought all through for the freedom. As I said, he gave everything of every part of his life, every second of his life. What do these people know? Talking of such an apology, what about Nehruji's father who made an apology to Nabha? What about Dange who made an apology to British? Very servile. Show me one letter or one sign of Dr. Hedgewar who sought apology. They have no knowledge at all of history. They are simply defaming. They have zero sense. They are intolerant. They are crude. And these are the people who actually have killed the entire cultural base of Indian history and history itself.
But it's saffronization of education by the BJP, says the Congress party. We leave it at that. Dr. Sharda, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. The controversy over textbooks and the inclusions that were made by the BJP continues. We're tracking all those developments here on CNN News 18. Let's listen into some more reactions coming in as well.
We should have stories about people who have really contributed to the building of the nation, who have fought for them. If you talk about freedom struggle, those who participated in the freedom struggle, that period, who are the important people? So it should be, that should be the history should reflect that, not your personal choices, not who you idolize. That is not correct. So what the BJP has done is try to infuse their ideological issues into textbooks, which is not correct. Children should have an open mind. Facts should be placed before them, and they should not be guided. Trying to guide a young person's mind towards a particular ideology is not good. So Congress party will have to look at it very seriously.
Sanket Yanagi joining us on this broadcast. Thank you so much for speaking with us, sir, here on CNN News 18. The Congress says that there is no reason why students in Karnataka should study Dr. Hedgewar or leaders like him because they were cowards. But leaders leading towards the RSS or members of the RSS come out and say there's absolutely no proof of the claims the Congress makes.
So the students of the country are the future of the country. The students' knowledge, acumen would decide the fate of the country in a near future. Students must be given an education which would lead to the development of their personality, in as much as the personality, apart from that, the growth of the country. If the students' minds are saffronized or students' minds are corrupted by way of some ideology which is no longer required at all in a democratic country like India, then it will affect the growth of the country as a whole. The rest of the world is now already preparing for the next century, and it is so advanced. And we are thinking about something which is a communal idea or an idea which is disruptive, that is not required for the students of this country. Our focus should be on the development to compete with the rest of the world, for which we have to equip our students. For that, a conducive syllabus must be provided. And the educational system would decide the competition with the rest of the world, for which reason an educational syllabus should also be with the rest of the world's competition. And the way BJP has saffronized or with its ideology it wanted to inculcate in the syllabus and to bring them back 100 years ago again was not required. In fact, the educational policies, the educational syllabus from 1947 to 2014 have decided the growth, and that is why we are now competing with the rest of the world equally.
But Mr. Yanagi, sorry to interrupt you there, but the RSS and the BJP says that students are taught about freedom fighters in this country, and many of these leaders were freedom fighters who were kept under the wraps, who were not being spoken of, and they have rightly included them. Why not talk about those leaders as well?
So about the freedom fight, we have already chapters in our syllabus. And the contribution of certain freedom fighters to the freedom movement is also there. It is not that they are being sidelined. But through the freedom fighters, if someone wants to inculcate saffronization, someone is writing like a bulbul, Savarkar was flying on a bulbul bird, and this is unacceptable. Let us be practical enough. So Let them not have something which is impractical, which is untrue, that is not required. Let us proceed on the basis of the truth. We are not for a moment against Savarkar or someone else, but we want that the students' education should be given much more importance in the light of the developments in the rest of the world. And we have to prepare them for the next competition to the rest of the world. So we have been planning to think about the future, planning to land in moon. We are planning to reach the Mars, and that should be the education system. That should be the educational level at the syllabus level. Let us not do something which would disrupt or deviate the mind or attention of the students at this young age.
Sure.
Let us give importance to their future. Yes.
Sure, Sangeet Yanagi, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. The war of words over. The textbooks and the syllabus in Karnataka continues. Remember, several of the academicians and litterers had met with Chief Minister Siddaramaiah just a few days ago. They had wanted assurances from the state government that some of these chapters will be dropped, some of the dropped chapters will be re-included. An assurance had come to the fore from the state government, and that is something that has sparked a political furor in the state between the Congress and the BJP.